IVM.
TFG Football is an IVM production, and you can also check out their other awesome shows like Made in India, hosted by May Thomas, where she brings exclusive acoustic sessions and interviews with the best independent musicians in India.
You're listening to TFG Football.
Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of the TFG Indian Football Podcast. I am your host just for today until Siju is back. Siju is unwell. So Chiranjit is with me on the line, and we have some breaking news, but obviously it's not from us. We did get to hear something from the Shillong Times, and this is not good for the club I love so much. Shillong Lajong FC are in a controversial situation here. They have been there has been a case filed against the club for tax evasion. This is not nice. I hope this is not true. Again, we are hearing this from some other source. This source obviously is Shillong Times. Chiranjit, any credibility to this?
Well, we won't know now, would we? Because what has been filed by the Income Tax Department will be investigated by them. So the Shillong Lajong office is in that hotel, Pegasus Hotel, and the press conferences also happened there. Obviously, the hotel belongs to the same owner as Shillong Lajong, and it may just be that there is something wrong with the filings of the hotel. But because Shillong Lajong as an entity is tied to that hotel, that is also getting dragged into it. Or it could be the other way around. So from what we know, we cannot really speculate too much on this now. This can be something, this can be an error or some miscalculation, or there can be something to it. We'll just have to wait to find out. It's not really something new though. Like we've had East Bengal, Mohun Bagan, Mohammedan Sporting, all of them accused of tax evasion in the past, but nothing really has come of those. So we don't know whether this will come to anything. Yeah,
that's there. We will get you confirmed news once we have it with us. Till then, in other news, we have the India Under-19 squad that played yesterday against Turkmenistan, the Under-19 team. And great news for us. We did finish the campaign on a high note. We ended up being the winners of that game. 3-0 was the final score. All three goals came in late in the second half. Chiranjit, your thoughts on that?
Good. It was looking good. That Matos was playing a set squad this time, and it looks like right after taking those players from under 18 and some from under 17 and meshing them together, they don't gel immediately, and especially when you're going up against a ruthlessly offensive side like Saudi Arabia, who are playing at home on top of that. So whatever derailment was going to happen happened already. The second game was a draw. We had chances to win, but again some unlucky lack of finishing did not get us the win. It happened this time, and it looks good because if India plays Turkmenistan now, the senior team, I mean seriously, you can't have too much of a sky-high expectations of these kids. Right. If Indian senior team plays them, do you think they're going to get a 3-0 win? It's not going to happen. Yeah. We might actually lose. There's a good chance that we will lose. So, that's keeping all that in mind, we have a win, 3-0. Does not take us anywhere in the tournament, but you come out feeling like, okay, we've done something. 4 points. Yeah. That puts us just short of the qualifying mark. So, it sucks, but it's something.
Yeah, that's there because this is the first tournament that these kids who had some of them who played the World Cup got a chance to play a competitive match. So it's still a fairly new team getting adjusted to the mix, the under 17 and the under 19s playing together. So we do hope lots of tournaments are coming in along the way to get them gelled together. Moving on.
And Arrows. Indian Arrows.
Yeah, that's
all of them will go to there.
The I-League, obviously.
And another bit of good news from I-League, East Bengal is showing some initiative. Apparently, they're going to, when they're playing in Salt Lake Stadium, they will keep 2 particular blocks reserved for women and children.
Wow.
So if a mother wants to bring a kid, they can come in and they won't be charged anything.
That is
Okay, they will be given free entry, and if you're carrying, apparently it seems like there will be special buses which will be arranged. So if you have a school student card, you can avail that bus service to come to the stadium. So lots of things are being discussed. So we might actually see the Kolkata clubs taking some initiative to reach out to fans rather than just taking them granted all of the time.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I haven't heard about this done by any club, and if it does happen, it's going to be a great boost for all the local fans. Especially the ones who've been feeling shy to come along. Just by the fact that women, yes, are very much interested in the sport, but some incentives like this really will boost up their numbers as well.
Yeah, one of the major concerns about the women attending matches was that the galleries in I-League, especially East Bengal and Mohun Bagan, they're not very civilized. The language in the galleries is a bit, let's say, R-rated, and you get to hear a lot of violence in the language, and sometimes violence breaks out whenever these two teams are playing. So yeah, the galleries, the terraces have got a bad reputation, and this may be just pushing the trend that we have already seen in the last couple of years, that more and more women are showing up to support East Bengal and Mohun Bagan, especially in the Calcutta Football League. I was actually, I think I spoke about this in the podcast, that there was a supporters club that was just women, and they were coming in numbers and leading the cheers in the Mohun Bagan ground. So if that's happening, you do something like this, it further encourages more and more women to come out with their kids or whatever. Provide a safe environment, and it's going to happen. Said, the love for the sport is there. They just need to be, made to feel that you're not going to get in caught of a brawl. In the middle of a brawl all of a sudden. So
yeah. So turning our attention to the previews that we've been doing over the past couple of weeks. So today we will be focusing on Minerva Punjab FC, the I-League team that did not finish, in the best of places for their debut season, but a lot of things positively for them to learn, because the way they started the campaign was on a very low note, and as the season progressed, I think they've tried to find their feet, and then they were able to grind out some great results. So we move into looking at the squad.
Kevin, they just beat Bengaluru FC, Kevin. They just beat Bengaluru FC 3-2. What are you talking? This team seems like it has changed completely. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's there. It's a whole new season and a lot of changes. And we did see some good players coming out from this camp, especially Anirudh Thapa, Jamanpreet, who made their way up to the ISL teams, and both of them also went on to represent the nation. So that's a great boost for the club as a whole. And coming back to the new season, Chiranjit, how do you look into this new squad?
So yeah, a lot of old faces as well. If you have been following we don't really get to see much of Punjab League matches, but whatever social media updates have been provided, you have seen that the likes of Arshdeep Singh, Arishpreet Singh, Kamaljeet Singh, Ramandeep have all been coming back. Sovik Das also, experienced midfielder, has returned to Minerva Punjab. So they have managed to keep hold of some of their players. Not the ones that have done well. The under 23 national team players that they provided have all gone into ISL draft, and the 4 players from their team who got into the India under 17, we don't know what their situation is. Moinuddin Khan, one of the players, he's gone back to the Minerva Punjab team, but Dixon and Nongdamba are completely still up in the air. We don't know whether they will be available for that. Anwar Ali as well. So all of those things in mind, it it looks a little bit like the last season as well. The players look similar. A lot of local players, a lot of inputs from the academy, and what's actually making the difference, and what we have seen making a palpable difference so far is a foreign signing. It was Chencho who scored a hat trick against Bengaluru FC. So yeah, all of that taken into account, it just seems like Minerva Punjab looks like a team that will keep its youthful fervor from last season. There will be lots of new faces coming into the system through this team, and they will be supported a little bit more by these foreign signings, who, by the way, are all very young. What do you think of what's your assessment of this thing?
Yes, looking at the squad, obviously we get to know that they've not again gone for big names, but that's the strength, where when you get in players whom you've seen grow up, that's the best kind of attitude to have a young team grow into a better team, and then that's what produces great players going ahead. So this season again looks the same, trying to get in players from the academy, trying to get in players who've played here and there, but then not really have got the limelight. So this again is a season for them to start afresh, and some of the players who've been retained from last season will play a crucial role again. It's the start of the season where you need your to be most calm, and that's where it will be difficult for them to get accustomed to the new I-League this time, because it's going to be a little more foreigners than last season. So the foreigners, obviously, performance is going to be dictating how the team performs overall.
It's actually very ironic, Kevin, because when the number of foreigners were increased, Ranjit Bajaj was one of the loudest voices against it. He wanted to play as many Indians as possible. But later realized that in order to be competitive, he had to go for foreign signings. It looks like a very nice bit of motley crew that they have put together. There is William Opoku, there is Tosia Hosoe. I think I'm completely butchering the pronunciations. The Japanese midfielder, I think he is. Kobe Dima. There's Chenko Gyaltsen, Lago Wei, and Dano Guy Eric. So I think both of those are from Ireland, and it just looks like a very young foreign contingent that they've got. It's not like they come with big resumes or something like that, but they do bring some experience. Nothing that you would be completely impressed by, but they have been around, so you can count on them to be a professional and adjust to this new team and slowly deliver over the season. It's not like anybody is expecting the moon out of them, but I guess their role will be to tie the squad together and be that thread that keeps their gameplay going, and maybe get a few points that gets them a mid-table finish.
Yeah, that's it. And hopefully there should be a better finish than last season. Again, going by the results and the performance towards the end of the season, when they did get a lot of goals. High-scoring games was their forte whenever they were involved. And I do remember that 5-4 game against Churchill. That was a big roller coaster. That's the kind of game that Minerva brought out towards the end of the season, and we hope to see some great results this time around. On that note, we will head on to a short break, and on the other side, we will be previewing one of the ISL teams, that's Delhi Dynamos.
Hi, I'm May, and I'm a huge fan of the indie music scene in our country, a scene that's relatively underground, even though it sometimes speaks its head overground, but there's no shortage of talent, and I get the privilege of interviewing some of the most awesome musicians on my show. I've had the likes of Euphoria, Krish Kale, Hardcore, Randolph Correa. I've had singer-songwriters, folk singers, electronic music producers, playback singers, rappers, fusion artists, instrumentalists, classical musicians, and so on. Whether mainstream or not, these people have chosen to release their original music, and these are the people currently shaping the direction in which our music scene is heading. Join me on my show every Monday and tune in to discover the unique talent coming out of India today. You can catch Made in India on your favorite podcasting app or our very own IVM podcast app.
Welcome back after the break, guys, and as we said, we will be previewing Delhi Dynamos FC, this team that really performed so well last season. They didn't make it to the playoffs, but semi-finals is where they lost out. Being such a good team, it was disappointing to see not to see them in the finals. Chiranjeet, what was your assessment of them last time around?
Well, last time, let's just say we were not very impressed. They went through. I mean, they have always been, that team that comes close in the points table. In the first season, they fell just short. Under Roberto Carlos, they also made the playoffs. Same thing, but they have lacked that panache. They brought in big names, but the team lacked the soul. Something that would reinforce their identity. As a prominent club from North India. So this time, when the draft happened, we discussed how they went for some really good, promising talent, and suddenly the Indian contingent that they had looked better than ever, simply by the promise they held from in different departments. Basically, it's the youngest Delhi Dynamos squad ever that we've seen, and the Indian players in the ranks will have the most responsibility-driven roles yet that we have seen so far. What do you think?
Yeah, so that's precisely put by you. And what I feel about this team, there's always been the talk that we do not require all the foreigners. So that's the reason they haven't signed the 8th foreigner as yet. So that could be a tactical reason as well, trying to get in a foreigner at the break when obviously it's a longer season. So, that one slot is left open to just get in that second the 8th foreigner in during the transfer window when it opens. So, yes, they've done a great job, getting great players from the ISL draft. But they will be missing their key players who played a great role last season. We're talking about Malouda, Marcelinho, and obviously Keane Lewis on the flank. So do you think they will be missed dearly this time, Chiranjeet?
Yes, of course they will be missed. They are not going to be able to create the same kind of firepower from what I am seeing. Like, obviously, I can be easily wrong here, but see, Malouda, Marcelinho, these are well-proven names, and Keane Lewis had just come out of that, season with Mohun Bagan, where he almost scored in ACL and scored in AFC Cup and all of that. And at Delhi Dynamos, when he was getting, regular league games for the first time, he sort of rose to the occasion and did justice to his selection. So Delhi Dynamos got the best out of him because he needed to prove himself. He needed to show to everybody that he deserved a regular start in a top level team, which he was not getting because he was playing in the same team as Sony Node. So it was a lot of stars came together, and Delhi Dynamos arguably had one of their best performances in the last season. But this time, they're gonna have to go in with a lot of faith. Kalu Uchi is a good forward to have. You have Lalianzuala Changte in the ranks. You have a lot of other wingers and midfielders. You have Romeo Fernandez who has gone in, and Munmun Lugun is in the defense. So Vinit Rai, who has been doing so well for the India under-23. So these are the guys who will supplement the roles that Guillaume Fernandez or Jeroen Lumu will be playing. or there is that Spanish midfielders
Edu
Moya and Paulinho Diaz also. Yeah. So and who can forget Mirabaje? Matias Mirabaje. Mirabaje, probably the most interesting name in the entire ISL this season. Mirabaje, formerly of Union Comercio. So see, it's a bit of a hit and miss that we're going to see. There's a lot of promise, but you don't have that security of that attacking line. That these are the players that you could bank on. This is a deeper squad than last season, so if somebody fails, somebody else can step up. But you're not going to go in with that kind of confidence with these guys. But what is actually more interesting to me, Kevin, is that they have one foreign defender. There is Gabriel Chichero.
But
and all the others
that's been the trend that we've seen over the period now.
Yeah.
Now this season has been the reliability in goalkeeping and the defense department has been always on the Indians, and I am not surprised.
Mostly you see that at least two foreign defenders in every team, almost every team. Yeah. One foreign defender is a very big anomaly, I think.
But I think that just throws away your dependency on a foreign defender, because you're already so sure that your Indian defense is well diverse. It's not your 100% looking forwards, your defenders like one or two who will be a regular starter. It's more it's spread out. It's a picking for you from at least 5 or 6 regular starters in the Indian department. That's the reason having just one defender, foreign defender, won't really hurt them.
Yeah, so you have the likes of Pritham Kotal, Senar Alte, Pratik Chaudhary, Rovilson Rodriguez. This is deep.
Yeah.
You have even Simranjit Singh, who's been doing well in the India under 23 camp. So yeah, I get it why they would be so much willing to take a punt on loading the midfield and the striker line with the foreigners instead of getting too many defenders from somewhere else. But who do you see, Kevin, forming a proper partnership this time? Because Kane Lewis had that partnership with the strikers. He would send in those crosses. And you could see that when he was cutting in, he had that tendency to cut in sometimes from the left flank. You would see that sometimes the striker or the overlapping left wing back would come up to cover the left flank. So that kind of partnership was developed in display from the earliest games. And with those guys not being there, who do you think is going to step up and create a proper partnership in that?
I feel it's going to be a discovery for Delhi Dynamos this time. Now, it's no longer a player that they want to step up. It's going to be something that it will be surprising for them as well. Now, I really won't be surprised if I see an all foreign attack here, because I think that they will have to lean on that part to get in the goals. Unless you have somebody like Vineet Rai or even for that matter Romeo Fernandes who can come in and knock in the goals. But then again, they do lack on the experience part a bit. So the dependency of scoring goals will be handed over to the foreigners. That's Goyan from who's there in the forward line along with Kalu Uche. Yes, there is one Brazilian from in name of Paulinho. Now you're expecting a Brazilian to be all over the central midfield or even the set pieces. So somebody like Romeo Fernandes or even Changte, if they're able to make their place stable in the starting 11, there's nothing like it. But I feel it's more the dependency of scoring in the foreigners.
You don't think Lalianzola Changte will be the top scorer for Delhi Dynamos this season?
It's difficult to see him because he in the under 23 side he's been excellent. Now just to understand how he does in the senior side, it's going to be a challenge for him as well. Yes, obviously he's there, he's capable, he's potential, but I don't see him getting off to a great start right from season start.
This is when I start missing the old I-League rules of having maximum 4 foreigners in the squad, because players like Lalianzuala, players like just the likes of Satya Sen or David Nangaithe, you have these players. They're really good Indian players who can go out there and get you goals. They will be benched simply because you can have 2 strikers and 2 midfielders who are foreign. So yeah, it's a bit sad in that part. I'm looking forward to what Romeo Fernandes also.
Yeah.
And what kind of assist he provides. He might be the assist man. Vineet and Romeo could become the big linchpins of the wings.
Yeah, that's there. Even Satya Sen, for that matter. Now he's got more experience. He's more, mature, I would say. Satya Sen or picking him over Vineet Rai in the midfield. Obviously, there is Pratik Chaudhary, who makes a great defensive wall when he's playing at the central defense. So, my hopes are that we will see somebody great rising up from the midfield of the Indian players in Delhi Dynamos. If not, it's going to be a foreign-dominated score sheet.
So we have Satya Sen and Romeo taking the wings. We have 2 foreign strikers probably in the middle. The midfield then becomes the central midfield if you are getting Paulinho on the defensive midfield and maybe Edu Moya or Matias who are playing a little bit up ahead in the midfield, attacking midfield. Then it becomes a bit of a troublesome thing for somebody like Vineet Rai, or even other Indian midfielders to get too much of game time. It actually seems like they don't really even have too many Indian midfielders who are going to play a central role. Yeah, you may be right. We may see just the attacking triad, or not even a triad. The axis of attack could be completely foreign.
No, rightly said, Chiranjit. Yes, we talked about the Indian, the ISL draft where the Indians in the Delhi Dynamos look so handsome. They look so powerful when we seen the names of Vineet Rai, Lalianzuala Jangte, and Romeo Fernandes. But what good is it if you've got such good names, such promising talent in your team, and they are not able to make enough game time? So that will be a big question if Delhi Dynamos are able to create that platform for the Indian upcoming stars, and that leads them to somewhere. On that note, we will call it wraps for today, and we will come back to you tomorrow. We are a daily show. You can also talk to us on Twitter. You can follow the Twitter handle of TFG Football. You can, if you're listening to us on YouTube, do not forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment. Do let us know your thoughts about the squads and the preseason. You can also let us know your thoughts on both the squads of Delhi Dynamos FC and Minerva Punjab. You can download IVM Podcast app, which is available on Android and iOS. And the podcast is also available on major podcasting apps like SoundCloud, iTunes, etc. We will catch you guys in another episode. Take care. Bye.
That was Tantrik Steve from Hansraj College, Delhi, performing at IIT Bombay's Mood Indigo. Just like them, there's a lot of new talent and art coming out of colleges all across India, but unfortunately most of this goes completely unnoticed or ignored. To fix this, we started ATKT.in. Hi, I'm Ankur, I'm a musician and a rapper, and I found that one of the best things about being an artist myself is finding new talent. Through ATKT.in, Tanya, my colleague who's a dancer, and our whole team really is putting all of our efforts into discovering and promoting all the coolest talent that's coming out of colleges all across India. And this goes up on our website, our social media, TV, radio, and now, of course, this podcast with IVM. Make sure you go to our website, support the talent with your likes, your shares, your comments. All of that really matters. Go ahead, check it out. ATKT.in.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your captain speaking. Sorry to say, but there's been a slight delay due to the apocalypse having suddenly begun. As you can see, there's death, destruction, and chaos taking place all around us. But don't you worry, food and drinks will be served shortly, and I would recommend checking out
IVM Podcasts
to get some of your favorite Indian podcasts. We'll keep you going till this whole thing blows over. Thank you.